What is up, humans of the cardboard? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Welcome to winners and losers of the October 2021 ban list. It wasn't a crazy one, but there are some winners and there are some losers at the end of the day, and that's what we're going to be looking at here. I'm going to be talking about everything I can think of, not even just the metagame, because usually the ban list is relevant to the metagame, but when generic cards get hit, it affects more than just the one meta deck that plays those cards. So we'll be talking about those as well. So without further ado, let's start off with the winners. Let's start it off positive before we get to the negative side. Everybody that got hit on the ban list this time around. We'll start out with Virtual World. I think this is one of the biggest winners out of the entire day yesterday, ban list wise. Not only did they dodge the ban list, being a top 5 deck in the format, or I guess I would say top 6 deck in the format. There's 6 decks that I think are like up there. But not only that, but got an emergency teleport. They only had one, and now they have 2. Now, it's not the most busted card in Virtual World. I mean, it's a nice extender. They don't have any monsters that trigger on summon or anything, so it's not like a +1 or anything. But it does help with consistency for them, because part of their consistency is like drawing those clunky hands where you're too reliant on your normal summon. Maybe your opponent thinks, oh, he started off by normal summoning a Lulu. Let me pop it because I'm going to put him in an awkward situation that he might not be able to play through kind of situation. Well, E-Telly just gets you another body on field to be able to extend. So very, very nice. It definitely helps. So we're looking at the E-Telly move to 2 here. Also helps Phantom Knights a little bit. They do play a small psychic package a fair amount of the time. This is, again, it's not huge. It probably just replaces some other extender that is a little bit less flexible, but at the end of the day, it's still just like a nice extender for them. Mutants, little more relevant for Mutants. I mean, like, E-Telly Mutants is better than E-Telly either the last 2 decks, because you have monsters that trigger on normal or special summon to get you a free search. So E-Telly without your normal summon is getting you a free body on field and a search for something else, which is actually pretty good. So that's a nice little bump for Mutants. Cosmos, Cosmos, man. Yeah, I mean, if you like Cosmos, this definitely helps consistency wise for sure. Gusto, we did just get a couple of Gusto cards in, I want to say, Dawn of Majesty, and this helps. They have some good cards that, not good cards necessarily, but they do have a couple of Psychic level 3 or lowers that definitely helps to be able to extend them out of the deck for sure. Ritual Beast, another one. They do all banish themselves when they're special summoned, but or I'm sorry, they can only all be special summoned once per turn, not banish themselves. But still, I mean, it gets out a free body. It allows you to play through an Eruption a little better, because that deck loses to like any one hand trap in the entire game of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's crazy, but cool. It's fine. It's a nice little extender for them. Super Quantums. This one kind of goes with like Mutants, because they have Blue Layer, and Blue Layer, like, aside from Alphen, is like the best Super Quantum like in the deck. It's just, Stratos when it's normal, especially someone add any Super Quant card, and now we can just E-Telly it out. With 2 copies instead of just 1, gives them another little extender for sure. Nice to see. And I guess the last one for the E-Telly help, the decks that E-Telly really helps, is Punk. We don't have this yet. It's coming in Grand Creators. Should be getting this in January, I believe. But they have like 3 separate small monsters that are psychics, and they can just search a monster, spell, or trap, so it does get them to really anything they need. So that's definitely a very, very helpful card for that deck specifically. Then we move to the I think this might be the last card that actually got help here. Pendulum Magicians. I mean, they got a 3rd Double Iris, which is nice, and a 2nd Skullcrobat Joker. I'm sure they'll get the 3rd Skullcrobat on the next list, and that's pretty nice. I mean, the problem nowadays is that like the boards that people are setting up are just too much for a deck that can't really or doesn't really want to play main deck like going second stuff. So whether it's hand traps, whether it's Dark Ruler or more, this deck doesn't really want to play it, because you just want to open a hand full of pendulums, and if you play against a combo deck and lose the die roll, you kind of just hand over game 1. It's very hard for this deck to play through like a fully established board going second. Which is the downside, but going first, it does some pretty powerful stuff. Hand traps are not great versus this deck for sure. So that's really nice, but it has drawbacks, but it is better than it was before. So we will definitely throw it in the winning column. Then we get to the losers. That's everything. Like, I get it. Nessie went to 2, but I honestly, I can't even think of like a very specific deck where I'm like, oh yeah, Nessie's so good for that deck. Like, sure, you could put Dark Worlds out there, like Danger Dark Worlds, I guess, but like, I didn't feel like it actually helped enough on the decks it's even like going to be looking to be played in to like really matter. So it's just like, meh. Anyway, losers. First up is Prank Kids. I think Prank Kids, out of the like 3 meta decks that got hit, probably got hit the hardest. I think people are underselling how much Meow Meow actually hurts the deck. And it's funny because I talked to my friend and he plays a deck that doesn't play hand traps really at all. He just wasn't like relying on, he's playing a combo deck, and that's kind of like awkward, right? For the deck consistency wise. And so the reason I still think this is actually like a more powerful hit than Dodo Doodle Do is like now Prank Kids like can be in a really tough spot if they get ashed or meistered or gammaed on their normal summon, because they don't just have another Meow Meow that they can make next turn. They can't apply that continuous pressure now unless, one, they either find pranks, but if they're getting ashed on their first summon, they're probably not getting to Doodle, and they're probably not getting to pranks, unless they hard draw it, which, you know, it is what it is. Or they have to draw exactly like a second Prank Kid and a Poly, or like something like a 1-for-1 that gets like another live Prank Kid out onto the field, which is easier said than done. So I think the deck is definitely checked here. I don't think it's dead. I think it can still play. It just might move down a little bit. It might be passed up by Dragon Link, might be passed up by Virtual World, Invoke Dogmatic Shaddoll, who knows, but it definitely does feel like this deck is a lot more fragile now. So we'll see how it goes. Next up we have Tron, and this one hurts to say, because it's not hurt much. And I want to make that clear. Yes, Tron is on here. Yes, the hit doesn't do much, but it does a little. It essentially means they can't like send Eva turn 1 and still have an Eva, potentially search an Eva in hand to send on like on your turn when they're negating with orange light or anything like that, or send it off of the Herald. And so they don't have the ability to get like those double search 2s, which is good, but it's still probably too much. I mean, like, the deck's still ending on, you know, Herald, or not Herald, Herald on field, Dragoon on field, Beatrice on field, with at least an orange light and a follow-up girl, what's her name, in hand. So like, yes, it does limit the amount of negations the deck has access to on their turn 1 boards, but like, if like your response to their board is Dark Ruler or Droplet or something like that, they still will have the orange light in hand guaranteed. If it's like, if we put them in a position where they have to start hard opening the orange lights, then that's different, but they still get to guaranteed 1. So you still have to like break those 3 big monsters while your opponent has a gamma, essentially a live gamma in hand. It's hard to do, man. It's hard to do, even with a full hand. So I don't know. Actually, not a full hand, because you would have had to at least use Dark Ruler or Droplet for multiple cards, for at least 1 to 2 or 3 cards, which is really tough. So I don't know. Yeah, technically they're hit, but it's not a big one. And then we get to a bunch of the stuff that gets hit by Tanky getting hit, okay? Boojans technically get hit. Whatever, it's Boojans, but they recently got support, so I feel bad for them. Fire Kings, you know, they're a deck that like a lot of people probably would say like this deck should get some more support. Well, they're less consistent now. That's tough. Yo, Senjus end up on here. Another Beast Warrior archetype. Tough to see. They're not very good. Firefist, oh my gosh, if you're a Firefist player, I feel so bad. Like, you got a big wave of support, it looked promising, but the deck is still so fragile, and now the deck is like gonna struggle with consistency problems, I would imagine, without Tenki, which really stinks, because the deck needs to be like, a lot of the monsters need to like send a face-up continuous spell or trap to like do something, which is really tough. So I definitely feel for the Firefist players out there. Lunalights. This one's actually particularly interesting to me, because I'm like, I wonder if Konami will go back now and say, can we give them a little bit of Tiger action back? because there's been a little bit of power creep. He's been banned for a little bit, and now they don't have 3 tanky to search him. So one, if we give him 1 copy, they have to like search him via the Lunalight cards, or obviously draw the 1 of tanky. So they're not as consistently getting 2 Tiger. And even if they put Tiger to multiples without 3 tanky, how consistently are they able to get to multiple Tiger? And is it even enough? I mean, look at what Drytron's doing. I know Lunalight's boards were like kind of crazy when it was all happening, but like now I sit here and I go like, was it more crazy than what Drytron's doing right now? And Konami just chose not to hit hard enough? I don't know. Maybe they would consider bringing Tiger back. That'd be cool. Ancient Warriors, super feel for Ancient Warrior players, kind of like Firefist, right? Like, newer deck, relies on Tenki a lot. By the way, I just want you to know, Tenki is a 1-card combo in Ancient Warriors, but Sun Mu, the best starter in the deck, by itself, is not a 1-card combo. Because he needs to send something from hand or field, Tenki was so good at just being that free resource on field to be able to send to get those free pluses. And now the deck doesn't have access to a full suite of Tenkis to really have that. So consistency definitely takes a hit here for them. That's the main thing. They can still do stuff. It's just going to be less consistent, which definitely stinks for sure. Tri Brigade, I mean, listen, is it huge? No, but it is a little consistency hit to them. And this ban list essentially, I mean, I don't want to say guaranteed, but it feels like it might have made Zodiac unplayable in Tri Brigade. But I'm honestly not sure, because we still have a Tenki. You could still just play a Rat Pier plus something else and play an even smaller package, but just have it there. But at that point, is it even worth trying to tack in the Zeus to your extra deck just because of like 2 cards in the main? I don't know. Because that's a whole package. You have to play like the 3 Zodiac Exceeds plus the Zeus at least. And that's, you know, it's kind of asking a lot. But yeah, not seeing Fractals much will definitely help. For sure. I think they will see a slight, well, not even slight, I think a decent dip in consistency, not being able to see Fractal in the opening hand as much, because he sets up so much for them. I think he might actually be the best one in the main. Maybe Nerval, but this one's still really good. And the last loser of the winners and losers is by far and away Zodiac. Last list, they hit Dryden. Not many people were playing Pure after Dryden got hit. Then on this list, they hit Barrage and Tenki. Oh my gosh. So brutal. I mean, part of me, kind of same thing with the Lunalights, thinks like, oh, if they're going to take away Barrage and 2 copies of Tenki, would they maybe bring back Dryden? Just so that, like, at least, like, pure Zodiac variants can play? Like, maybe you won't play it in Tri Brigade anymore because you don't have, like, it's not, like, flexible. The whole point with, like, Tri Brigade was, like, oh, if you open, like, Tenki plus Fractal, and you're not playing Zodiacs, the Tenki is dead. Or at least you're going to have like 1 dead copy of Fractal because it's the only search target. But by playing a Zodiac engine, you have like full combo, because then you have a search for a good normal summon and Fractal dumps to set up everything in your grave. So kind of weird, but like, yeah, it's, I don't know how to feel about it. I mean, I kind of wish they had done this and taken Dryden off. That way, like, if you want to play a pure Zoo deck, you just play a higher number of normal summons, so you can brick a little more. So that definitely, like, hurts a little bit with consistency. You're not opening, like, search cards and use Barrage summoning from deck. You have to open a straight-up Zoo more often now. So, but no Dryden, unfortunately. Nobody was really crying for this. People were crying for Tri Brigade, but they just hit Zoo. So maybe if we see Tri Brigade get hit because Konami's finally fine with it because they're not making them as much money anymore or whatever the thing is there, maybe they'll feel better about bringing some Zoo stuff back because they feel like they hit it a little too hard just to punish Tri Brigade. And then it'll be fine once Tri Brigade gets hit. Who freaking knows? But that is it for today, guys. That's all my winners and losers. Let me know if you think there's anything I missed, any winners that kind of went a little bit unsung. I don't really count like Dragon Link, Shadal, Invoke Dogmatica, because like nothing happened to those decks. I guess you could say they're slightly better because the decks above them got slight hits on them, but I don't really count that as a direct win. That's like so indirect. The deck didn't get better. The deck is just relatively in a slightly better position in the format. So that's going to do it from here today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, let me know in the comment section your thoughts on the winners and losers of the ban list and everything in between. I will see you in the next one. Subscribe if you have not yet, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.